Hello people, and welcome back to a news review. Apologies for the late episode, but let's get started. So the 3 jackpots are out by now. They are, well, Philyra, Lucifer, and Azazel. Names that all overlap except for Philyra with existing characters, making the series all the more confusing. Anyway, the 1% jackpot, Philyra, is a fire god. Decent attack multiplier. You can have monsters of heroes of the dimension, which is the seal, and also gods in her team. Fire, light, and dark HP and recovery times 1.5. So you're like pretty much very strongly encouraged to put fire, light, and dark members in the team, because you know that's the only way you can get HP basically. By dissolving all runestones in any row in the first batch, except this is wrong, I think. It's by dissolving 5 or more runestones. No. Okay. Sorry. Got confused. That's in the team skill. They look very similar. By dissolving all runestones in any row in the first batch, attack monsters of heroes dimensions and gods ×2 additionally. And when you make 6 or more combos, then you get an additional attack boost. All in all, the multipliers are pretty okay. It's not, you know, game breaking. It's not bad either, so pretty good. For the team skill, everything has the effect of fire, light, and dark. Pretty good. Fire has the effect of heart. Good. 3 dissolve on your first batch. That's okay. Takes a bit of getting used to. Damage reflected from enemies minus 90%. I mean, very unique. Not sure when it's going to come in handy. By dissolving more than one group of one or more groups of 5 or more runes in a row. Skill CDs of heroes of dimensions -1. So this is the one I was talking about. When you swipe left, you can extend your movement time, and when you swipe right, you get attack basically. And you can stack rounds on both of those. So she has 2 actives. Actually, all of these, well, all 3 cards have 2 actives. For her first active, turn the columns below. Okay, well, this is just, they haven't changed the name for this. Turn the columns below the seal monsters and gods into enchanted runestones after 2 rounds. Combo count +6. For combos and EX combos, and the first batch to be dropped will be raised runestones of the attribute of the seal monsters. So for example, below Philyra will be a column of fire for your first sky drop, like your first batch of sky drop. For her second active, CD5, select and swipe to remove 3 rows of runestones for 2 rounds. You ignore sticky. So one thing that is special about the team is that you mess with, you basically have the ability to deduct your CD very, very quickly. So, as someone actually on Chinese Reddit described this, so I'm just gonna, this is a slideshow what will happen, right? So, because of the Dragonware that you can put on Philyra, her CD when you enter that stage will go from 5 to 2. Right, so for both of her skills, it's CD5, 5 to 2. On round 2, because 1 round is passed, and presuming you do the CD reduction by dissolving a row, you go from 2 to 0. Next round, you have the stack, like of both of her actives. Then one of them goes from 0 to 5, and you activate it, and then on the next round, you go from 5 to 3, and you have 1 round left over. Next, you go from 3 to 1, and your attack boost runs out, but then you activate the other one. So now you have 2 rounds, and then it repeats once again. So, repeats for this one gets to 0, that one goes to 1, and that's that. Anyway, that's basically what's unique about it. One thing that is kind of bad is you have to stack up a lot of stats on like the top left, right? Philyra herself gives 2. If you have any Chronos monsters like in her team, which you are, you are pretty strongly encouraged to bring because it means extra sky drop from her skill. You will get a lot of stats, and actually I'm not sure like long term whether it is actually good to bring Chronos monsters because they all have stats of their own and none of them are really sort of, basically they all give stats and they all clash with each other. But next, well actually the reason why I put her here is because she's not exactly like game breaking. If you have like Eva or Trio or basically those two, then you don't need Philyra because you already have a god team and a fire leader sort of. However, she is still good. I think that the damage output is pretty good and it's a unique way of playing. So I mean, between 50 and 175 is where I would put her. Next is Lucifer. He is a god, demon, and elf team with a dark emphasis. So he does give HP and recovery times 1.3, which is okay. And you just, these are just basically automatic, except for this one, when your HP is not full. Team attack times 3.5. So how do you get to, well, how do you make your HP not full, right? So when you swipe, you basically always like want to swipe the row right with, I think, all of these, although I'm not sure about that. Is this Azazel? Because her as a leader, I do not recommend her as a leader. But for Lucifer, he converts the column below him into Dark and Heart, pretty good. Dark and Heart also have the effect of other runestones, although, mainly you want it to be a dark team, I think. He makes it so that he can activate his active right as you enter the stage. And the swiping, as I talked about before, can lock your recovery and give you an attack boost, and the leader launches an extra light attack. This synergizes with his active, which concentrates all the attack on him, basically. You deplete your current HP, and for one round, he gives himself attack times 8, ignoring defense, and if you defeat the enemy, this gets to keep going, which is pretty good, I think. I mean, you always gotta watch out for stat clears, but I think this is pretty good. As a member, it might also be okay, but then you have Gemini, which does the exact same thing, but you're not afraid of stat clears. One way you could, because this is a stat, and that one's also a stat for locking your recovery, so that's already like 2 stats up. One way you could remain not at full HP is by using like the Dark Demon card from actually, I forget the card's name. It's from a collab a while ago. I'll put it up on the screen if I remember, but I'm pretty sure like nobody has that card, and I mean nobody's thought about it either. So that's that. For a second active, you swipe to remove 2 rows and you ignore burning. This is actually a pretty good skill because there are no gods right now have the active skill of ignoring burning. For Philyra, for sticky, there is a god, but it's from Eva. So again, if you don't have Eva, Philyra is a pretty good choice, I think. Of course, there is a Demon Slayer collab coming up, so save your diamonds for that if you want. Azazel, leader skill, negligible. The one noteworthy thing is that she has damage reduction and ignoring Quintet Elemental Shield, but not really. I mean, basically it's the same as Lucifer, but Lucifer is powered by his own sort of multiplier, whereas Azazel doesn't have that. More of a defensive type leader. For her active though, for first active, you accumulate rounds until ideally you can enchant the whole board, make the whole board God Runestones, and then dissolve the whole board, and then generate 30 enchanted light stones. So this would be useful for 30 light shield, for example. You know, a good utility character, I think. And for her second active, you swipe 2 rows, recover 60% HP, and if the leader is a monster of heroes that I mentioned, you delay the CD of all enemies. This one is okay. I mean, recovering 60% HP I think is okay. The third one won't, you know, activate when she's in another team, so solidly 50 diamonds, maybe perhaps a little bit lower, but yeah, that's that. One thing I forgot to add is that all 3 of these leaders don't actually have a movement extension time, apart from the Dragonware that is in their team skill or leader skill, so that's why I think this series will be a little bit more difficult to play. Next, I mean, you have the material, and if we go to the end right here, there's the free-to-play cards. So, Oguma the Grand Shaman. Earth Beast, CD6. He gives himself an attack boost and turns the column below the monster into beast runestones. Heart has the effect of everything until no beast runestones are dissolved. So that applies for 1, 2, and 3. I think it's fine. Maybe if like Earth Beast takes off. I mean, you have Dagda right now, but I don't think this is the card for Dagda. I'll just say that. Next is Yuffie the Bear Shaman, Fire Beast, CD5. Turn all race runestones into fire runestones. Something that, you know, usually happens the other way around. And gives an attack and recovery boost to beasts and fire monsters. Pretty useless, but I mean, it's unique, like, in the conversion. I don't know when it will come in handy. Possibly never, but, you know, it's new. Next is the celebration event. Noteworthy things is that you can actually make the Dragonware using seal characters and the silver whatevers, like the Dragonware components, instead of getting them directly from pulling like on the 10 pull. If you have spare diamonds, I recommend pulling for the 2 like sub jackpots, not the 1%. I wouldn't recommend you spend 175 on this one. I think Lucifer is a good leader for the meantime for dark teams. And you don't need to pull, you know, 10 pulls just for the Dragonware, because you can make it yourself. It says right here. Fantastic. Next is returning ultimate stage, actually, which is this card. This card is really good. Wenqu and Wuqu, Fire God. The noteworthy thing is that it is a stat clear for gods, which is relatively rare, so you want to get this card. The other one, I mean, is Oguma, the Grand Shaman. Next is a thing added to the LR pass. Yes, that nobody really... I mean, these cards are kind of useless, right? But if you don't have them, right? You'll have 3 cards, these 3 cards. Periton, Jouyu, and Daikokuten. Periton is useless. Jouyu is okay. He explodes on fire resistance 3 times and launches a fire attack. It's okay. Fire human, the fire human box will at some point, you know, be revived by a fire leader, fire human leader rather. Daikokuten is kind of useless. I mean, you could get him. He turns the board into light runestones, so just a 30 light board. Sometimes useful. Now you can get him like forever. So that's that. That is actually it, I think. Nope, United We Stand. You can get extra baby harpies from the friend point seal. And last but not least, Chronos Gate is not a crossover event. fantastic. That is it for this week's news review. If you liked it, please leave a like. Any questions, leave in the comments. I always try my best to read every single comment. If you like this in general, please subscribe. I do this every week, and I will see you next week. See ya!